It's good to see you. Happy Father's Day if you're a dad.
Gracias. Comment est la connexion?
Well, you sound great. You look great.
Okay, because I take the connection of my assistant, so now I think the problem is resolved.
Yes, it is. So I'm glad you're joining us from Sevilla.
It's Valencia. It's Valencia, Carlos. Valencia.
Valencia. There you go. Thank you for correcting me.
No doubt.
And so, Pro, before we start our talk, I just want to read a little bit about you to our guests, so they get a little bit familiar with your backstory.
Okay.
And you have a long resume, bio, but I'll do some short snippets of it so people know who you are. Pro 176 was born in Paris and grew up in, maybe you can help me with my French, Choisy-le-Roi.
Choisy-le-Roi.
Is that terrible? There you go. Choisy-le-Roi, a small town in France's capital southern suburb. He was born to an accountant and stay-at-home mom. Nothing in his family and environment was predestined him to have an artistic career. But however, at 5, he taught himself how to draw the art of Jack Kirby, the famous comic book illustrator. These American comic books that his mother used to buy him would go on to influence him forever, and that would, of course, support his interest in drawing. And then one day in 1989, he observed the techniques of 2 graffiti writers, Motu and Colt, during the festival for youth and equality. And since then, Pro has dedicated his life to painting. I should mention, he's a self-taught artist. And he, in 1991, stole his first classic spray can art book and instantly got contaminated, as he says. Since then, he has done a variety of things. He's joined with the notorious Grimm team and also the Ultra Boys International, this is important to note because that crew was looking for a new form of creating graffiti and decided that Marvel comic books would hold the answer for them. And they would therefore create futuristic abstract mathematics, alphabetical constructivism, and the brutality of redefined Picassonic facial cubism, a sort of pure graffiti avant-garde that ignores all the forms of graffiti judged worthless. And in 2010, you became a member of the RTZ, Return to Zero crew from Berlin. And again, in the pursuit of futuristic lettering. As well, you had a career from 92 to 2010 as a music producer, and you were into rap music. So there's a lot that could be said, but ultimately you became a painter, and you became focused and painter and are active full-time professional artist and showing your works in galleries around the world. So again, I want to go back to the beginning of your story because you had mentioned the connection to Jack Kirby and the comic books and graffiti writing. That's something that keeps coming up in a lot of stories, and even in my story. Was there, in terms of the American influence on you when you were younger, was it just the comic books that you were looking at America in terms of the culture?
No, I'm gonna say we was teaching by the American culture since I was young, on the TV, everything. Like after the Second War, the French begin more and more American way of life. So we take it like we take it like a storm. So it's the cinema, the music, the graffiti, everything touched the Europe in a strong culture. So I think it's universal. I have the same vision like a kid from the Bronx, I think. Not the life, but the vision. Because we looking the same movie, we looking the same stuff on the wall. You know, it's universal.
It also could be said that you were living in a poor neighborhood, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, project.
You were in the projects, right?
Yeah.
So that
Choisy-le-Roi.
was kind of a perfect.
Choisy-le-Roi, my city is a suburb of Paris because the project is not in Paris, or not so much. It's around Paris, so we call it the suburb.
Right. And so that community was, what kind of a community was it? Was it just a mixed race community? Was it just all poor French?
It's different from USA. You know, it's immigration. You know, we have when the Second War finished, the system need some people to reconstruct the French, so they take Spanish people and Italian, and after they take people from Africa. So after that, they need to give a house to all these people. So they construct the project. So they put every people with low budget in the project. So you have it's not like USA. We don't have the segregation. We don't have I live all my young age with some black people, some Arabic people, some Chinese, everything. We was connected by the poverty. That is the difference with the USA. At this moment, we don't have the strong segregation, another story of life. USA is another stuff. Here is the immigration, you is the slavery and stuff like that. So
Right. And so this kind of diversity in your community, I would imagine with the early hip hop, by the time you started, of course, there was already a graffiti and a hip hop history, right?
yeah. Was the big
in Paris.
Yeah, in Paris, the beginning like in 82, 83. It was strong in 86, 87. So we have some late years than you. We take the culture after you, but they arrive like a strong storm. So it's like that. What I can say more.
So Pro, I'm looking at this picture of you, Mode, and a bunch of other guys. Tell me about this picture, this crew shot, because this could also be like the Bronx. This image could also be taken in the Bronx.
The crew is the CTK and the Crow Monchel from London, and we want to live like that. You know, it was we live this culture, like we living the culture strongly. So we try to represent, be like you, be like USA in a fact, in a way of life. We loving the subculture of America. We don't love America like politics and stuff, but the subculture was like, it was like strong for us because we live in a country in Europe, in French. We don't have this culture before. You know, we don't have the soul.
What option did you have?
We don't have the soul.
What option did you have?
You have no many options. You at this moment of life when this photo was taken, you have the punk movement, we have the rock movement, and the hip hop coming. But we don't have French is a country of book, a strong culture of book and painting, but the music is another stuff. You know, you have a strong culture in America for the music. In French, we don't have this culture. So it takes time we have some black star and stuff like that. You know, it was like it was another world. And the immigration, we arrived in Europe in one time. You know, they bring people from Africa in one time. So everybody was mixed up and stuff. So how I can say, I don't have the word exactly.
So in terms of how all this was influencing, obviously Mode and Cult, when they did the unity piece, the youth unity piece, that was a huge influence on you.
Yeah.
How did you actually know anything about graffiti at that time, or you just saw it for the first time and said, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, the only thing I know about graffiti, Carlos, it's about the video clip and some stuff on TV, but but I don't understand nothing. For me, I just see colors and signature and stuff. And when I see Mod and Cole painting this wall, just downstairs from my building in my project, I was like, it's a revolution in my mind, because I never seen somebody doing a piece in front of me using cans, rapidity, and it was great because it was Mod. So Mod is one of the most famous and influential artists in Europe. So it was like, for me, like a revolution in my mind, a real
Right.
revolution.
But you also have Bando from France as well. He was a native
After,
son.
I discovered Bendo, because I was taking Mod too, and after I take time for understand the mechanism of the graffiti, because when you don't know nothing, the lettering is hard to understand. It's a way of life and culture for understand the lettering style. So when I see Mod, it was the character and how he painting and stuff. And after, when I entering this movement, I discovered Bendo. It was done. When I see that, I understand the lettering, the style, because he speak on TV in many documentary. So he speaks, so he drops some knowledge on TV. And if you was wise, you can understand what he say. So yeah, for sure, Bando is one of the best in French. You have J1, like the picture you show is J1. You have J1 and Bando.
Yep.
For me, it's like Dondi and Sin in French. It's the boss of lettering. They really create
Right.
dynamism. Like Bando is influential by Dondi, and I think Bando was CIA. If I remember good, I think Bando and Dondi was connected, and Dondi put Bando in CIA, and you have J1 is BBC, TNB, and him, he was done with Take Kid. So it's 2 point of view, it's two different kind of lettering. You have the Vandal stuff like Bendo, and you have the stylistic like J1. And me, when I discovered the lettering, I was more focused on J1. J1 for me, it was like crazy because it controlled the character, the lettering, the flow, everything. Like it was really an influence, a big influence. It was a king at
Yes.
this.
Right. He was. A lot of people say that to me, how important he was at that time.
Oh,
Another person that was really important to you and influential was Scene,
yeah,
and you guys became friends.
yeah.
So tell me, this because Scene was out in Europe early on in the 80s. Did you get to meet him when you were a young kid?
No, but he was quick in French, like super. He was more concentrated on Amsterdam, London, stuff like that. French, I think he's come one time quickly. Futura 2000 is more in French, or people like that, or take it than Scene. And after Scene, come for do a show in 2007 or something like that in French in Paris, and he was like loving it. So he decided to stay in Paris. So I was working at this moment in a shop of cans in 2008. I was a seller of cans, and my shop was near from the studio where he was working. At this moment, I have no place to paint, but I have a friend like the manager of Scene. He proposed me to come to painting in the studio. I come the first night, and I discovered Richie Scene. So it was an honor for me. I was like super impressed, because for me, my ego, I was controlling the graffiti game in Paris, in Europe. And when I meeting Scene, all my ego tripping was down, because I really meet massive. Was really like, take my ego for real. And I'm painting this night. It was a crazy night for me, because I put a canvas, I'm painting, and at the end of the night, Scene tell me what you want to do in the future. Say, I don't know. I was doing music, I was selling cans. He said, you want to paint? I can be your manager and stuff. And for me, that was one of my best days in my life. I quit everything. I quit my job. I quit everything, the music business, everything. And I stick with him like for 5 years. And I move in Valencia with him. I bring him in Valencia. So we hang out a lot. And I learned the work, the business, everything with him. It was really I was a Padawan. You know, I think I was do all my stuff in graffiti, all the tour and everything. And when I meeting him, I was a baby, so I need to start again. And he put me in another vision. It was great, man. It was one of my best experience in life. Really
Good. So he gave you structure. One of the things that I liked about European writers was that they were welcoming, but also they took time to travel to other countries and paint with other artists and meet other artists. And you were no stranger to that. Before we had talked about Wesp, who I also met when I was in Berlin. He became part of your crew as well.
big friend. Berlin is crazy city. For the graffiti, Berlin is great. You have, for me, you have Paris, London, and Berlin in Europe for the style and the stuff. Is the three capital with a lot of good writers and really, really good city, Berlin. Really good state of mind. And
you've also collaborated with another American, Cope, too.
Yeah. Oh, crazy story with Cope. I know Cope like in 1904 or 1905, I don't remember. I was young. I don't know what age I have, 20 or 19. I don't know how to speak English. And I was in Paris in my project, and one day I make some dirty money and stuff. And one day I say, I want to go to USA because it's my influence, and let's go to New York. It's my dream. So I take a ticket. I go to New York. I don't know anything. I don't know anybody. And I find the Fat Joe store. I don't know the name of the Fat Joe store in the Bronx at this moment. And when I arrived, it was Brim, TAT, in the shop. It was, I don't know, a seller or something in the shop. And I speak a little bit with him. It was like so funny because I don't know to speak really well English and stuff. So I try to communicate with him, and I try to say I want to meet some people and stuff. I'm from Paris. I'm a writer and stuff. And he dropped me a number of phone, and the phone, it was Fernando, it was Cope. So in my mind, at this moment, Cope for me, it was like crazy. And I have the number, so I called him. We communicate hard. He bring me in his project. I go there, I chill with him and stuff. And after, it's crazy. It's a saga continue. I'm blessed.
What an amazing story to walk into America, into New York specifically, and then just jump right in and meet some of the top guys.
Believe me, at this moment, the project of Cope, it was crazy. I arrived in this place like I was knowing nothing. It's American project, but I was crazy at this moment. I was so passionate. So I was afraid by nothing. I speak with people from the project, and the more funny because I'm a super hardcore fanatic hip hop. So I was knowing there's some lyrics of some music. So the kid, the guy from the project, tell me, what group are you listening hip hop? And I know not better, but I know a lot of stuff than these people. They was like, wow, you know that, this guy, yeah. They was really impressed. It was funny, man. It's so good experience. Mad love for
you had your hip hop passport. Not only could you talk about hip hop, again, you could talk about Jack Kirby, right? You can connect with the young kids and the young people about the art and culture they're a part of. In this slide, which is really cool, you could see that influence in your work from the early paintings, from the early painting we have on the right side. Talk to me about connecting, kind of a future vision of graffiti style writing to the comics, what the comics were teaching you about the future and about design.
First, the comics for me is like the same approach like than graffiti, because hard line, black line, lettering, full colors is kind of vision like graffiti. And for me, I speak for me, and in my head, I must connect these two worlds. And when I begin more old, I begin to understand what Jack Kirby put in the comics. It's not only history from superhero. You have some stuff from metaphoric, from you have some crazy stuff with religion. You have some crazy conspiracy stuff. It's crazy world when you enter and you discover it. So for me, with what I see in cinema and stuff, so I connect everything, and I use the what Jack Kirby dropped, and I use it and turn it the graffiti world, and I was famous for that.
Right. So it wasn't just about the colors and the structure. There's a story behind it. There are narratives.
Yeah, the story. I do a lot of piece with the story. Like the piece before you show, I have a fucking table. How I don't know. Like in Stanley Kubrick 2001, you have the how is the name in English? The square. I don't remember the name. So I put a stuff from 2001 in graffiti piece. So I try to push the level, not and drop message in my piece. Like this piece, I paint with says it was my year when I put like really transhumanism piece, like robotic, like a robotic world and stuff like that in computer robotic world. So all that stuff is by the comics. You know, it's like really my vision.
Right. So that's continuing on with those ideas that you guys Soy's One and Shake and Recto with the UBI, right? That's part of that philosophy, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's just to push the level of thing. You know, I'm a kid. Like I'm study the New York style a lot. You know, when I was young and I do graffiti in Paris, they call me like a New York whiter. You know, it's I have this style. I was like a huge fan from FBA, FC, but then after I realized I need to push the level, I need to continue to where the American people stop this style. I need to continue like a vision of Vulcan in 2010 or something. Like in my mind, I was like, I take the philosophy and the base of the lettering of New York and I try to push it in another dimension. Like I don't know how to express that.
So were you at all looking at Phase Two's work or Volcan, those guys who were thinking futuristically about the letter form?
Yeah, it was my influence, my big influence. You know, I don't know how was I coming, but when I look in graffiti, I need to I don't know. What I love is the technique and how they push and the detail and stuff, and not a lot of writers push this detail. So it's a way of thinking. A lot of writers do block letter, quick lettering and stuff, but me, in fact, I was super influenced by this type of work. When I was young, I was to do like I say, I was looking J, I looking Bendo, and J for me, it was like more in the future.
Tell me about this mural, the gravitational hunting. This falls in line with what you're saying about a bigger narrative, more of a comic book illustration feel, but futuristic. Completely. Again, the lettering is so abstract; it's hard to make out. But still, in all, it's a really dynamic and explosive piece. Hello? Can you hear me? I lost your audio. All right, I'm gonna re-sign on.
Yeah.
Hey, Pro.
You have me?
So I was asking about this mural because the lettering becomes so abstract and it's really dynamic. It's a whole nother experience in the painting, but yet you have these illustrations on either side of the alligator,
Yeah.
or crocodile, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about the gravitational hunting mural.
This mural I make in 2012, I think, something like that. It's I love this
2013,
piece.
it says.
Yeah, 2000, I don't remember, or 2000, well, maybe 2013. I don't remember.
Yeah.
this piece is, I have enjoyed this piece because I do in the street with a lot of people, old people looking me and asking questions when I was doing. They don't understand nothing, and Hablas is a hunting in the space. So it's a scene of hunting in the space. Like, it's for that I named the piece Gravitational Hunting. And it was like a crocodile alien chasing another crazy beast. Like, it's a, how you can say, it's a cockroach panther mixing with a fish. So everybody was looking that in the street, like, what is this shit and stuff. It was funny. It was one of my best pieces, I think. I have a lot of fun to do it, and it's one of my last piece. After I stopped painting lettering, I start really hard my job.
Right. Right. Like, because you go from, and this is a great example of going from something so complicated to something so clean and a graphic design whereas you were looking at perhaps Jack Kirby and
Yeah,
in something like this, it may look a little bit more like Archie, a
yeah.
softer type of comic illustration.
Is that I have a lot of time to connect my brain to create a new style, because when I start with scene and stuff in the gallery, I don't want to do graffiti on canvas. I need to elevate my game and have another vision. So it take a lot of time and energy to create that, to vision. So it was hard for me at the beginning to stop painting letters and stop graffiti because I was so deep in that. But at the end, I arrive. I have more fun now to painting this type of piece. Is more in the adequation with my life. It's for me. I do all the stuff in graffiti. I dream, and now I need to push another level, and I have some super fun to come back at zero, like my crew, return to zero. So I fuck my ego,
Which
and I try to elevate the game, my game.
Right. And what I like you said before, this is, the return to zero is kind of a return to the child, right? It's return to
Yeah,
that young pro, the young
yeah,
kid who was looking at all these comic books with wonder and also, learning how to draw from and communicate with them. One of the
yeah, yeah.
themes, and you were talking about finding a signature style for yourself, and you seem to have found it. But also, one of the things that's recurring in your paintings is the all-seeing eye.
Mm-hmm.
And the eye metaphor is kind of a very strong icon in art. I mean, you can go back to some of the great works from Man Ray and some of the great French artists who have always put the eye in the center of the work, but also in terms of the American and graffiti
Yeah.
and pop art. Why the eye? Well, everybody has a reason for it, but why do you specifically use it in your
Mm-hmm.
work?
Because it's the reflect of the soul. The eye is in everything, and you have a many metaphoric view of that. You have the third eye. You can see in the dark. You have many definition, but is of the body I like is so crazy. The eyes, the how it's constructed, and it's imagine a life without vision, a life without seeing. It's hard. It's so. And now when I'm painting like profile of girl and stuff like that, now I cut the face really hard, and I put some stuff like you can see inside. It's like if you open a body, you can see what inside, and so it's
Yeah.
for me it's metaphorical. It's like that. I have no. I can no really definition because it's a feeling. I love painting eyes, and the more I love is the eyes woman. It's the reflect of the soul, and everybody when
Yeah,
they
and
see.
right, right. I see that this, for instance, this mural that you did here in Miami for Wynwood Walls. I remember when you were
Yeah,
painting this. So
do.
now, when I think about this kind of work, right? This kind of high graphic abstraction, in terms of graffiti. I mean, this is in a way, kind of, again, you know, this extension of that, but like even several spaces removed, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because now you're focused on being on a fine artist, not a graphic designer, not a comic book designer, but a fine
yeah.
artist that you would have. Uh, uh, and I don't know what that may fall under for you. You know, here we tend to look at, you know, the graphic design art as kind of a pop art, kind of a
Yeah.
pop graffiti, urban art, and you know, it's done really well for you. And why do you think people are so attracted to this? What is it? Is it the same attraction as the, you know, the clear graphics, the childhood memories?
It's a combination of that, you know, because the people, I think they feel the outline that bring memory, and the combination of comics. Because my goal is to, when I enter in the gallery game, I was like, what am I gonna do if I don't do lettering? If I do comics, what am I gonna do? Some Spider-Man, Superman, impossible. So I need to push the style, and what I loving is Picasso. So, and everybody said the comics is a subculture and stuff, is not really art and stuff. So in my mind, I try to put that in gallery and say that is contemporary art. You know, it's and I come from graffiti with this vision, so you can feel the graffiti in my piece and stuff. So I try to put the comics in a other level. I try to, but the people realize below the feel of the outline, so it's familiar for the people. But it's not Spider-Man and stuff. They only realize some part of the painting, and they speak for themselves.
Right. And there's this fragmentation, right? There's this, I like what you do, that you fragment, you know,
Yeah, it's
so
that.
many ideas.
Yeah, it's that I explained, Carlos, when I say I open the mind, like my new painting. I do some faces, and it's fragment, and in fact, is the interior of the people. It's that in my mind when I'm painting. That is the metaphorical. It's open the, and for this picture you can see three face, because people sometimes have three face. You know.
Yeah, that can be true for sure. But
Yeah,
now that you're doing this style, one of the things that's really nice is that you're getting these public commissions, right?
yeah,
That the
yeah,
work, unlike the more sophisticated, or not sophisticated, but just more complex, futuristic style writing that you were doing, this these kinds of works live easier in public space, don't they?
yeah, for sure, for sure. But if you looking good, is really kind of my student graffiti. But I take the pure essence, and I try to take a detail, and push all my style in this detail, and the people from the graffiti loving, and the people from the street loving too. So for me, it's a good combination now, because when I was painting graffiti, nobody understand what I was doing. I was doing painting in the street and stuff, and nobody was understand. You know. So when I pass the in this type of painting, everybody give me props. Like from a kid from 7 years old to old grandpa. So for me, it's another point of view, because when I do graffiti, I speak only for the graffiti heads, and now I speak for a lot of people. So simply my style for the people. It's like the music. You can be a good lyricist, but the more powerful is the people who writing with a little word, and say a lot of emotion in little word. You don't have to have complicated word, and it's the same, in painting. A simply insinuation of my style for all the people understand it, and at my surprise, it worked, and I love it. This
What yeah
sentiment.
what I like about this particular painting, and what you're saying, it's true, right? Because it seems like you almost it's almost a collage of years of expressions. Like on the background, it's interesting because you have this kind of you know, abstract expressionistic feel, but actually there's writing, there's tagging and spraying in the background, and then on top of it, you have this hard graphic illustration style that goes on. So, but one of the things that's interesting to me as you're exploring this, you take a really sharp right, you shift gears on everybody, and you do these psychedelic, motion-driven illustrations, these paintings now. Oh, you can't hear me? Okay. I'll Hi,
Okay, you
we're back.
you
So one of the things I was talking about is about how you shift gears, right? How you go from something like this that I think is an accumulation, like you were saying, of all the years and the things you were interested, from the graph to the, you know, contemporary art and stuff. But now you're shifting gears in your new work, where you're adding motion, where it's psychedelic. It's almost like a trip, like a psychedelic trip, or like the world, everything is moving around you. And it's
yeah,
much harder to make sense of the world you're in.
yeah. It's a world of nonsense. So I try to communicate with the world, but the world is nonsense. So my work is nonsense too, and it's the influence of all my young years. I have some experience with drugs and stuff, so I try to put what's inside my brain deep on the canvas and stuff, and I have a lot of liberty because what I do, the people like and feeling. So it's a blessing, you know. The people realize what I
So
do and they love what I do. So, and I do really what
so
I
what's the
like.
process? What's the process of arriving here? I mean, do you sketch these out? Do you illustrate them on the computer first?
Yeah,
How
I
how
do. I do everything most of the time now on the computer. Before, like I was super dirty with the computer. It take me time to understand and stuff. And I was like, I don't was like the computer work, but now with the years and the work, I try to understand it. So now I do a lot of stuff on computer with pen and stuff like that. And it's
yeah, I'm glad you.
just the ID, Carlos. It's just the ID. And after I put on the canvas the first line, and then I feeling the colors and stuff, all in my mind.
I'm glad you talk about that, because I've always been a fan of technology and new tools and helping
Yeah,
us arrive to these new places, these
yeah,
places that, like you were saying, you know, like if you were to think about these images which you experience, right? You experience, whether you're on drugs or you're having a lucid dream. It's hard to hold on to that idea. It's hard it's hard to, oh, you paused. You paused. Can you hear me? Hi,
yeah.
we're
I
back.
don't touch nothing. I don't know why it's cut. I don't know.
Huh. So one of the things I was saying, I was appreciating what you said, because technology allows us access to creativity in a
True.
way that may be difficult for us to render and illustrate.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and 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 of course, dreams can create some of this psychedelic experience, but you can't stop frame, you know, typography in your brain and you know, just all of a sudden project it and illustrate it. But I like that you embrace technology, because these are very difficult abstractions to make.
Yeah, yeah. And that saved my life. Really, because I was like really not in this fucking Photoshop and stuff. You know, I was really, I don't know, I start like 5 years ago, or I don't know, like 7 years ago. And it was like really helpless, I don't know the name, helped me a lot, in fact, because I create stuff I can create with a pen. And all my life, I said, ah, no, don't touch that. It was the same problem with when I do piece, I never use projector. When I do graffiti, character, like the gravitational hunting piece, I don't use a projector. So, but because I was like, ah, no, I don't use that. It's not for me. It's for the people who don't know painting. But after with the work and all the stuff, I need to use it. So it's the same for the computer. I was like, I need to use it for push my level. And now it was like really, it's my tools. But my real tools is the brush and the canvas and stuff like that. But that really helped me to create, to win sometime. The time is important. In this business, the time is super important. We don't have a lot. So we need some stuff we can win time. So the computer for me is like really the definition is to winning time. Is that for me? Because I do it.
Have you tried virtual reality painting?
No, but I try to begin with the filter on Instagram and stuff like that. But my assistant is down for that. So in the future, we're going to arrive in that because we work a lot in this. And so in the future, we're going to do a lot of, I think we're going to do a lot of virtual stuff. And we're going to do a lot of in 3D and stuff like that. That is my future project.
I definitely would love to see that. I would encourage that for you, particularly because of the way you paint. And one is the painting, but also the structure of these shapes that I think the virtual space would be perfect for you. So when
I want to say
yes,
it's like 10. It's like 10 years. I do a lot of canvas, like really hard time, like really deep in the studio. And for the next 10 years, I want to try some sculpture stuff and more like 3D work and stuff like that, because I was like not fed up, but I was stuck in a space and I need another space. Like when I was in the graffiti, I need this fucking other space of creativity. So I need another space now. And I think my space for the future is the sculpture. So I begin to create some stuff on the computer. And I think I'm going to work with Okuda. It's from Madrid. So I think I'm going to work with him for he produce my stuff and my vision. So it's my future, like in this year or the next year. But
right.
Fast.
And you said something important. You said something important about time, right? Time is so, we're trying to buy time to paint with our work, but also we need time to produce it, right? And I definitely believe I'm of the mindset of using technology to enable you to become your own publisher, right? To produce your own work and distribute your own work. Sean, who was one of your mentors, is one of those guys that thinks along those lines as well. You know, you control your work and your distribution of your work.
I think is the good example for that because he have a big name and stuff. If people like him do it, he open door for us, you know, for the future. But I like to work with Gary. It's no problem for me. Seeing is another level. When I have his age, maybe I have the same vision like him. But what is good, he open door. He open door for artists and stuff. Like you can do business by yourself if you're smart.
Right.
If you're smart.
And the thing is, if we were to think about it, right, about the business of our work, right, because not only do we practice in the studio and work in the studio, we look to find places, commercial spaces for our work, right? There's a part of our work that's very personal and our development. There's the other part of it for sustainability, but also the challenge of doing commercial work.
Yeah.
Right.
That is the most
difficult. Do you
difficult.
feel conflicted by those things?
No, me, I'm not conflicted because when I quit the graffiti game, I was in another state of mind, and I was with Sin, and Sin quit the graffiti game in fact. So I learned from his knowledge how to progress, and to the first night I worked, really the first night I worked at the Sin studio in Paris, the first word I speak with Sin, he called me Chico. He said, hey, Chico, the stuff is not the talent, because I have a fucking Puerto Rican head, or I don't know, South America head. But he tell me, like, you know, everybody have a talent. The talent, everybody got it. But the point is how to work your talent. It's the difference.
Yes.
It's working your talent and understand the knowledge of the business. You know, you need, from the graffiti point of view, it's hard because it's really another world. Graffiti game, it's another world. Here, it's another door. So you need to understand how to sell your work, how the people interact with your work, what kind of series they like. And you're not a sucker because you're painting in a type of way for the people or stuff. Because like I said, I want my stuff from a child to old people understand my work. So it's like music when you do pop. Now for me, I do pop. You know, I put the youth auto-tune. I put like the singer, now they put auto-tune and they make money. For me, it's the same. I was in the graffiti, but I put the fucking auto-tune graffiti. It's like street art. So when you enter in street art, another point of view, is no street knowledge, is no street fight, is no, you know, it's not the graffiti game. It's no king of what line, you the king of which street. It's another point of view because you painting with all type of people, from art school, from the stencil game. It's, you know, if you don't understand that, it's going to be complex because the graffiti is not the winner. We have a lot of winner in different positions, like in metallic sculpture, in stencil, in everything. You know, it's so the graffiti people think they are the best and they need some recognition. And in street art, is not the rules. That is for the graffiti. So when you enter in the other stuff, you need to be prepared, your mind. You know, like I said, broke your ego. Because if you don't broke your ego, you're going to be trapped. You know, you're going to be like, why is he make money? Why I don't make money? Why, you know, it's like, so for me, I'm super glad because a lot of people say, why you put hashtag street art and stuff? I say, hey, I'm from the street and I do some art. So I'm the best represent for this type of shit. So street art is not a problem. I do art. And I'm from the street, so I have problems. So for me,
but also that comes with wisdom, right?
Yeah, I have no fight, you know, and I discover, quit the graffiti game, I discover a lot of people, you know. It was like the freedom, my brain. Because in the graffiti, you have many rules, the style. I was a super extremist in the style. People know me, they know because like, this arrow is shit. These people paint like shit. They have no logic in the lettering. Nah. I was really in a dictature of you know, I was like really, and after I elevate my game because I changed completely my mind. And you know, when you see the painting in wood and stuff like that, you arrive and you be in confrontation with a lot of artists with different style, and you learn from everybody, and that gives strength, a good feeling for your next piece and next painting. Because really, I love graffiti, but when I stopped the graffitis, I changed really my mind with the art. Now I'm freedom. You know, I'm really liking painting. The painting.
So now that you're free, now that you're free, do you ever go back at least and paint a piece with your name? Do you go back to that at all?
Yeah.
Or you just.
You see, I painted a piece not so long ago, like 2 years ago, and I tried, but not a lot of people see. And I try to make a piece like my painting, you know, like this style of painting with lettering. So I do a pro with lettering, like super pop abstract.
Nice.
But for the moment, it's not my goal. But in the future, I'm sure I'm going to get back. For sure, it's in my blood. But I have a lot of vibration to painting when I'm painting my new stuff, because it's really, like I said, everybody understand it. And I was looking for it because I try to explain the graffiti. And it's not America. You need to understand, Carlos. We are in Europe. We don't have the same, you know, with the people in the streets, they don't know wild style in yellow. They don't know, the piece, the wild style from, I think, they don't know this type of piece. In America, everybody know it. So they have a little bit of culture of this. So in Europe, it's not the same. When I'm painting in the street graffiti, the people look at me like really I'm an alien, like I really like a UFO. What this guy do? Like, and when I do the painting I do now, it's everybody like it. So for me, it's good because after I don't know how many decades of painting, the people come and say, it's super. And when I'm painting in Spain in the street, it's crazy. The people bring me food, beer, everything. People from I don't know what age, like 17 years old.
I'm in the wrong country.
With the dog, they look me, they love, come back, they bring you beer. It was, you need to educate. But what I love with my style now, I can more interact with the people. They really understand it. Because before I must say, what is on the wall? I say, it's my name. It's a P, it's a O, it's a R, it's a O. You know, for me at my age, it's like baby, like, oh, it's my name. But now when I do what I do, it's more adult. I can interact really hard. I can say some stuff really crazy, like, you know. So it's, for me, I'm super.
You know, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something. You know, you know, for me, I've fallen back in love with style writing. I mean, I've always been in love with style writing, and I practice on and off. But I've always been thinking, no, there has to be something more than this. And of course, over the years, it's been about like, how do we make modernist graffiti, or how do we create abstraction? How do we take history and remix it in graffiti to create something new, like where you're at now? And after years of getting there and being there back and forth, you know, and being here in Wynwood, I've been seeing so much of this hybrid, you know, of these illustrations, of the murals, of style, but also these very like illustrated murals, and it's really exciting. It's you know, for me, it's still encouraging that style still means a lot to artists. That said, because many artists are not going to see the world in the way that maybe you and I have had seen through through art, a different kind of art, right? And graffiti was kind of like the first impression we had. Well, really, the comic books, right? I mean, I was a comic book kid too, but I saw graffiti, and while I don't get tired of seeing the style writing, sometimes I get tired of seeing the murals, right? And then something comes along and surprises me, and I like that about the culture. It's not one thing or the other; it's everything.
Yeah, for sure. And the style, even in street art, you have style. You know, the style is important. Yeah. If you do stencil, you need style. Everything you need style. Style is the way of life, and it's that make the difference. Is the style, the detail, the outline, the feeling, the it's like the graffiti. Everybody do tags, but you have not a lot of list of writer with a really good end style.
Right.
You know? And it's
so
the same.
Pro, if we think about your work, right? If we were to think about defining these works, because there is style, right? There is, and you know, you and your group had, you know, early on when you were kids, you were already thinking about, you know, the styles, right? Do you feel like you have a name style for these kinds of works?
Sorry. You listen me?
Hi, we're back.
Wow, fucking.
So I was asking you if you created a style name for these types of paintings for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. This style, this picture, the name is neo-cubism. It's called it neo-cubism because it's I want to do like for simply my thoughts. I want to do like Picasso stuff with comics. I really want to do that.
And so.
And that is, and the other one is abstract comics. I call it abstract. This one, I call it abstract comics. When I do some circle line, I call it abstract comic. And when I do some straight line, I call it like neo-cubism. That is my name of my style. And when I do graffiti, I have another name. The people call it galactic, but me, I call it cosmonometry. So I do a book like the name of my style, cosmonometry. Every time I'm painting, I look for a style, for a name, everything. And when I was doing graffiti, every piece have a name. I was really deep in this shit.
Hey, listen, so in the last couple of minutes, we got 4 minutes left with Pro. If anybody has a question, please ask, and I'll relay it to him. Pro, I want to really thank you on behalf of the museum and
Yeah,
our team over here,
we were right.
you know, yeah, we celebrate you, man. We celebrate your work, you know, and I know Alan's your boy, and
Yeah,
he'll be happy to know that we pulled it off.
yeah, for sure.
But I'm glad we get to celebrate you and learn about you,
Yeah,
and the amazing work you've been doing.
yeah, gracias, la familia. It was an honor. It was an honor, Carlos. It's good to speak to a lot of people, and it's good. It's good to the people understand the thinking of the artist. It's a good way to do live like this because the people can understand the difference between artists
Absolutely.
and
I have a
what kind
question
of.
for you.
Yeah.
I have a question. We got 3 minutes. I got a question. Do you use tape as well? It's so perfect. Is it only spray or acrylic paint as well?
Everything is acrylic. I use the spray for little detail, but everything is brush and acrylic. Everything, like the piece behind me, everything is
So
acrylic.
beautiful. So Chrissy John asked, beautiful work. Was Lichtenstein an influence? Roy Lichtenstein, the
Not
American
really.
pop artist.
Not really. I love his work, but it's not really by influence because he was like influenced by the other one, by the American comics
Correct.
people. Everybody think me. I speak only for me. Everybody think for me. Jack Kirby is another level. The Liechtenstein.
Yeah,
If Jack
I
Kirby
would
doing,
agree with you.
if Jack Kirby on canvas, you can be sure it was like crazy. But you don't have time to do canvas because you want to know a trick about Jack Kirby. One trick is crazy. I see a video of him working. I don't know, it's on YouTube because YouTube don't exist at this moment. It's people who bring me the video. I look on the VHS. So it's a video. You can see Jack Kirby prepare a white page with the case where he's going to do the story. And he draw everything with a pen with no up the end of the page. He do every case like this. And I know two people doing this. It's Jack Kirby and Moebius. Moebius, the French comic.
Yes, I remember Mobius from Heavy Metal.
Yeah, it's only Moebius and Kirby. They know to draw one page in 2 minutes with no the pen. Like it's like a computer.
So, Pro, listen.
Yeah,
We got about half a minute. Give your last shout outs to everybody.
yeah. Shout out to Bizarre Graffiti, BRB, everybody there, everybody in the world, all my friends, all the people who buy my painting. I'm with you. You support my work. Every gallery I work with. We here. The saga continue. The life continue. The shit, but the life continue.
Exactly. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for your success. And I hope when I get to Spain, I make my way up to Valencia to see you. Bye.
Gracias.
Ciao.
Gracias. Ciao.